Bag number one, but what's better than one bag? Making a second one even better. Good morning, everybody. It's Stephen here for the Idiot Quilter, and welcome to my weekly vlog. It is vlog number 436 for December the 22nd, 2025. 3 more days to Christmas Day. And here's the inevitable question. Are you ready? Oh, I hate that question. Are you ever really ready? No, you're not ready until it's over with. At least that's the way I am. And yes, I have been busy. And yes, I'm a little hungover. I will admit it. I'm having my coffee right now. Walter and I went out last night for dinner for our anniversary and then came back here, and I think I may have polished off a whole bottle of wine on my own. Yeah, I don't usually do that, but it was our 42nd anniversary, so, need to fortify ourselves to get through the next year. Yeah, no, that's not true. But anyways, we're going to talk more and take you on a little trip today near the end of today's program to show you where we had our anniversary dinner and what we thought of this place, because it's brand new. We've never been there before. But anyways, before we get to that, let's get to other things like what have I been working on? Well, here you go. This is the Holland duffel bag. Many of you are probably familiar with it and have made it. And this is my first attempt at it. And I think it turned out very nice. So I decided to upgrade this, add a few embellishments, and so I made a second one. And do I have a picture of the second one? Nope, I do not have a picture of the second one, but I do have a picture of the second one that I will be talking about and showing you tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And, the first one went together pretty easy. I had some problems with the second bag, and I even made a major boo-boo, and I'm going to show you how I corrected that boo-boo, but I will talk all about that tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. And now I'm just waiting for some more supplies to come in, and I'm going to start on my next bag project, which is actually a carrying case for your sewing tools and projects and things like that. A little bit more difficult, I think, than this bag was, but that's the whole point of this being 2026 being the year of the bag for me. I'm trying to challenge myself and perfect as much as I can, because I am an idiot, my skills in doing bag making. Okay, doesn't mean I've abandoned quilting, though. I will do that as well. All right, so I've showed you that. So let's move on to the YouTube video of the week. And I am sure many of you are familiar. Well, you definitely are if you live here in Canada, if you're Canadian, but if you're an American or in England or other parts of the world, you may not know what a Tim Hortons is. And a Tim Hortons is a coffee shop that's on every corner in every town in every province of this country. Yeah, they're prolific. And I'm not kidding. That there's, like, where I live, there are probably 10 to 15 Tim Hortons. And I don't live in a huge city. Okay? So, yeah, they're everywhere. They are an icon for Canada. I don't think you'll meet any Canadian can say they've never been to a Tim Hortons, because that's just not right. But things have changed, as things do over the years, and Tim Hortons is no longer a Canadian business. It was bought by another company a few years ago, big conglomerate thing. And, well, ever since that, it just hasn't been the same. And, well, this is what this particular video clip is about. This week's YouTube video of the week is a very informative one, and especially informative for those of you that are Canadian, because it is talking about a Canadian icon, Tim Hortons. Now, for those of you that aren't aware of what Tim Hortons is, it is a coffee shop essentially that sells sandwiches, food, all kinds of different things, and has been around for many, many years, since the mid-1960s, and it was named after a hockey player called Tim Horton, who started it. And Tim Horton has become an institution in Canada. There is a Tim Hortons almost on every corner of every street of every town. You can't avoid Tim Hortons. People go through the drive-thru on a daily basis as a routine before they go to work or after work for Tim Hortons coffee, which I don't understand because it's horrible as far as I'm concerned. But many people love it, and they love the food as well. The thing is, Tim Hortons has always been promoted as a Canadian company, and we stand proud behind it. That's not true. It is no longer a Canadian company. And this video explains why, if you've noticed that Tim Hortons quality and service have gone downhill over the last few years, well, that's because it's no longer Canadian owned. And they talk about all of this and how this has affected Tim Hortons as a Canadian icon. So I found this really interesting to watch, and I learned quite a bit about a Canadian icon that really shouldn't be a Canadian icon. So you may want to check out Don't Buy at Tim Hortons Again until you watch this. So if you're interested in knowing about what has happened to Tim Hortons, then you're going to want to watch that clip in its entirety, and you will find a link for it in my show notes. You will also find a link in my show notes for an event that's coming up this week. There will not be a Sewing with Stephen this Wednesday because it's Christmas Eve and the day before Christmas, and I'm madly trying to get things together for my family. We have, counting Walter and myself, there's going to be 14 of us here on Christmas Day for dinner. Yeah, I'm tempted to hand people a shoehorn, and when they come to the door and say, come on, squeeze yourself in, there's plenty of room. There isn't. But anyways, we're going to make it work. It'll be fun. It'll be even more fun when it's over and the mess is cleaned up. But anyways, yeah, so there'll be no Sewing with Stephen this coming Wednesday, and there won't be a Sewing with Stephen the following Wednesday because that's New Year's Eve. Now, we don't have major plans for New Year's Eve, but other people might. So instead, we're going to have a pop-up sew day on January the 1st to welcome in the new year. Now, the link for that will be in my show notes next week. But right now, you will find the link for our Christmas Eve social that we are having on December 24th. Logical, that's Christmas Eve. All are invited to this. All are welcome. It starts at 7 p.m. my time, Eastern, and it'll run a couple of hours till about 9-ish Eastern time as well. You don't need to tell me you're coming or anything like that. We're just getting together. It is a Zoom link, and the Zoom link is in the show notes for that. And, you know, just something to do on Christmas Eve, because I know there are many people out there that are alone on Christmas Eve. You know, because of this circumstance or that circumstance, whatever it is. And, you know, at Christmas time, being alone is kind of lonely. So Walter and I are going to try to bring a little bit of cheer for a brief amount of time into your lives. So we're going to have fun. So bring your festive attitude to this. Bring your favorite drink, whether it's alcoholic or non-alcoholic, your favorite maybe Christmas snack, you know, cookie, whatever. And if you've got something you'd like to share with us, and it could be something you have created, doesn't have to be quilt related, it can be anything, or you have a favorite Christmas memory you'd like to share, there will be an opportunity to do that kind of thing. We're going to also play a couple of games, fun games. We're going to watch a couple of fun, somewhat weird videos that I have found that I hope will make you laugh and bring some cheer to you. And yeah, so it's just a nice time to be together with like-minded people and friends, kind of a thing. So that is December 24th, Christmas Eve, this coming Wednesday, starting at 7 p.m. Eastern. Links in the show notes. And you're going to find links for everything else that I usually have links for, including last week's videos. And you will find a link for all of our unboxings of the MSQ Christmas MSCQ, the Missouri Star Quilt Company Christmas box. The only one you're not going to find is the last set, days 21 through to 25, because that goes live on Christmas Day. But the rest are there if you haven't seen them. I know a lot of you have been watching them and commenting upon, the items that we revealed. All right, so I think that's all I've got right now to talk to you about as far as links are concerned. So let's take a look at what's happening outdoors. I haven't been outside yet today for my walk. I will be later, mainly because, well, as I said, I'm a little bit hung over. Not a lot, but a little. And so here's what things are looking like outside. Now, this is a little later. And for those of you that set your watch to when my vlog goes up every Monday, yeah, I'm sorry, I'm a little late getting this up today because I stayed in bed a little longer. I usually get up around 5:15. I didn't get up until about 6:15 this morning, and I can tell you this, I could have slept longer, but I did things to do, So I'm up, and here's what I'm seeing outside. At the time I took this picture was at about 7:45. It's a bit dull and gray, as December usually is. We haven't had any fresh snow for a couple of days, so we've had, and the temperatures have been a little higher, so it has been melting away. So that's why our driveway and the road and our sidewalk and everything are clear. Makes it great for walking. But right now the temperature is -7 degrees Celsius with a high of 1. Balmy. Yeah. But it doesn't look like today there's any precipitation in the forecast. And tomorrow, though, there's a 90% chance of something. And it's going to be warmer. High tomorrow is about 3 degrees Celsius. Yeah, and 90%. And I'm trying to see that, I'm not sure, this little symbol that's here might be snow, might be rain, it might be freezing rain. I don't know. They don't know. I swear. The weather forecast is usually they just have a big wheel and they spin it, and where it lands, that's what's going to happen. So they say. So anyways, we could have a slightly white Christmas. Unless it gets warmer and it rains, we'll have this snow, and the snow is getting kind of dirty. I hate it when snow looks like this because it's not pretty. It's just grubby. Yeah. But anyways, that's what things are looking like today out there. Okay, so that takes me to what's pissing me off this week. And, I don't want to rain on anybody's parade right now. It's Christmas, and I debated whether I would have anything to say. I thought of even skipping this over because it's a bit of a downer, but I'm doing it anyways. But I'll try to make light of this. Okay, so what's pissed me off about this week? Lots of things, but not Christmas itself. I want this Christmas to be a good one. It'll be the first one in 2 years that we have actually been home on Christmas Day. You know that the last 2 years we've traveled down to Dahlonega, Georgia for a sewing retreat. And yeah, last year's was not what we expected. It wasn't very good. And for us, that was a very expensive experience because, the first year we had a really great time. The next year, no. Part of that was just the way it was organized and the lack of organization, I guess, and stuff like that. But anyways, I'm not going to get into it. Just to say that sealed the deal with us, and we said, no, we're not doing that again. For us, it's a 14-hour drive. It's basically 2 nights in hotel rooms on the way down, and then it's 2 nights in hotel rooms on the way back. So yeah, and with the expense of what the retreat itself costs, there really wasn't much food provided, so you had to go out to have lunch or dinner. Lugging all your stuff, getting across the border. And it's even more difficult for us as Canadians to get into the United States now, and we're not going to get into the politics of it. And so it ended up costing us about $3,000 in total, and that didn't include probably the gas, as well to get there. So it's not worth it. It's really not worth it for us. Too far away, so we're home. And so, since this will be the first time in 2 years that we've been home, that's why we're hosting Christmas. But you know what it's like this time of the year. Um, I could bitch about the shopping crowds because we all do bitch about that, don't we? It's just nuts out there. Although we have been out doing some shopping for things that, and this year I haven't found the crowds as obnoxious as in past years. And I don't know if people are not buying things like they used to, or everybody's probably ordering on Amazon. I have been. And in fact, I was expecting several orders today. One of the orders is important that I get it before Christmas Day because it's a heating mat and I need that. They said it was going to be here, guaranteed delivery, they tell you. And as a Prime member, and I am a Prime member, I pay for that. It was supposed to arrive between 4 and 8 a.m. this morning. Well, I looked out on my doorstep, nothing had arrived, and I got an email from Amazon saying my order had been delayed. It's going to arrive sometime today or tomorrow. So we shall see what happens. And I checked the status of the order online with them, and well, 2 out of the 3 things that I have ordered, they're at the courier's place being processed, sort of a thing. My warming thing, which is the most important thing in this order, yeah, I'm keeping my fingers crossed on this one. But anyways, that's an annoyance, right? Yes, it's my fault because I left it to the last minute. Well, I didn't think about it until yesterday that I thought maybe I should get something. But anyways, enough about that. Okay, now the price of food and gifts, I could bitch about that. Everything has gone up, of course. Now, that's not unusual. Prices never come down, they always go up. But this year, especially with the whole political situation going on here in between our country and the United States, food prices, everything has gone really high. And, when you're hosting 14 people for dinner, that adds up. Yep, we had to get a 22-pound turkey for this. Turkeys aren't cheap. No, and Walter, he looks at all the sales flyers and tries to find the best price. And he didn't do too bad, but still, $50-$60 for a turkey. So there you go. And of course, there's the endless Christmas advertising. And most of us stream whatever we watch these days, but you can't escape that. The streaming services have it. Every time you turn on your computer and you go into Google or even your email or whatever, you're being bombarded with advertising, which is pretty much a common thing throughout the year. But at Christmas time, it's just even more annoying. And it's annoying because sometimes we see something, oh, I should buy that. And that brings up the other thing that pisses me off about this time of the year, budgeting. As much as you may say, okay, I'm setting this money aside, this is for Christmas, I'm not going into debt for Christmas, I'm going to be reasonable with the gifts I buy or what I spend on food and that kind of stuff. Yeah, are we? Do we stick to that? I don't think we do. Maybe some people are really good at it. I am not that good at it. I'm always thinking, ooh, here's something I know somebody would like, I should get that. Or here's another food item that, oh yeah, we should have that too. So, yeah. And then there's the stupid Christmas newsletters that come from your friends or family. Oh my God. I really don't care about what, about how Grandma Zita is doing now that she's 160 years old. Good for her. I really don't care about your lovely vacation to the south of France. I really don't care what you're reading. I really don't care what you're watching. I really don't care what you're making. I really don't care. I don't. And I know that makes me sound like a Grinch, but come on. What is a newsletter about? Are you that precious that you think everybody is just hanging on every word you write because your life is that important to them and what you've done? I mean, a card is nice. Hi, it'd be lovely to see you in the next year. We've had a good year. Merry Christmas. That's great. You know, if I want to know more details about somebody's life, I'll send them an email and ask them. Yeah, but whatever. Um, and then of course there's all the pressure you have in planning, especially like I'm doing, hosting Christmas Day. Every little detail. Now, maybe I go overboard. Maybe I'm just a little too anally retentive. I don't know, and I'm sure you will tell me I am. But I have lists about lists. Um, I sat down yesterday, made more lists. Trying to get myself organized, get myself in the swing of things. I'm so afraid I'll forget to do something. And I do have a family that tends to be a little bit critical at times. They do it in a nice way and they just mean it in a fun way. It's not that bad. But I want things to be as perfect as I can get them because I am a bit of a perfectionist. And that's my fault. That's my bad. Okay, nobody else's. So I put the pressure on myself. So, you know, I have nobody else to blame. I know what some people do is they order out for food, you know, like skip the dishes, but most places are closed. Now, I've heard a lot of people get Chinese because the Chinese restaurants or that places are all open on Christmas Day. I'm not sure if they are. Not here. Technically, Christmas Day is a statutory holiday and businesses are not supposed to be open on Christmas Day. Hiccups. But maybe some are. I don't know. I have never ordered food in for Christmas Day. But you know, sounds like there's a lot of advantages to doing that. Oh, and I suppose I could have people bring stuff. My sister offered to bring stuff. I said no, because we go to my sister's for, you know, family dinners on a regular basis, and I don't take anything except a bottle of wine or that usually, because she says the same thing. Don't worry about it. Got it all looked after. So I don't want her to be worried about bringing food. Plus, on top of it all, if they bring something and it has to be kept warm, well, you know what it's like trying to keep things warm when you have only one stove, you know? So, yeah. So anyways, these are, I'm sitting here and I'm bitching about these things, and I said I wasn't going to bitch. I enjoy doing them. It is part of the season. It is part of the experience of the Christmas season. And you just put up with it and enjoy it. You can find joy in these things. They don't have to be that big a drama for you. So, but you know, also I got thinking, nobody knows how many more Christmases they may have in their life. I know, okay, I'm bringing it on a downer. No, but you know, I think what I mean by that is every moment you need to make special. Life is too precious, too short to get worried about the little things and to make yourself unhappy. Take it for what it is and find the joy that lies there within. And so that's my Christmas wish for you, that you have a very Merry Christmas, that you enjoy Christmas Day and the season, and don't worry about the little things. Just enjoy every moment. Okay, moving on. Grow lights. What's happening with the grow lights? Well, lettuce, new crop of lettuce. Walter's got new seeds in there, and they're coming up very nicely. And this is a little blurry. Oh well. Anyways, the basil is going wild. I think it's time to start using it because basil just keeps growing. And our what was wrong with my photo skills? I'm telling you. I think there's a setting I don't know about on my camera that's blurring the background out. But anyways, you get the idea. The red things are tomatoes. A lot of tomatoes. So I'm going to have to look up some creative things to do with tomatoes. And these tomatoes are delicious too. we're very proud of this coming along, and it's perpetual, so that's good. In the blurry background, you see sort of a dark little thing up here. That's a pepper. Those are those peppers I talked about, I think, last week that are black in color. They look black. They're a deep, deep purple. Kind of put me off. They taste like peppers. There's nothing wrong with it, but they put me off. But we've got to get a new crop of peppers going in there because peppers take a lot longer than the tomatoes do. So, yeah, that's the grow lights. Things are doing quite well there. Okay, what's next? Turn over. This is going to be a long one today, people. Sorry. If you want to fast forward through me, well, through this, you can. I won't know, so don't hurt my feelings. Okay, let's talk about new products. Okay, well, we have a stick blender. It's a Braun. We've had it for years. And one of the things about that is, oh, my printer's done. That's the little beep you may have heard. One of the things that came with it is a little like chopper, food chopper, and you stick the Braun thing on top of this and away it goes. And it's great for when you've just got a small little thing you want to chop up. And we use it a lot, but it's old. I mean, we've had this thing for probably 25 years, maybe longer, and it still works, but it's getting a little crappy looking in that. And Walter was talking about it. So I went online, as I do, and looked up things and ended up buying on Amazon, as I do, this. This is a Cuisinart stick blender. And you can see there's the little chopper. And it was on for a decent price. It was a good $20 cheaper than the Brauns that are out there. And it is a Cuisinart, so, quality name. So we tested it out, and it works dandy. And so we have this now. And I didn't tell Walter that I was ordering it and buying it. So I kind of said to him, here's your Christmas present. Not really. It's not a Christmas present. Okay, let's give the little woman a vacuum for Christmas. She'll love that. No. It's for the house. It's for us. But I did that jokingly. Mind you, Walter will use it more than I will use it because he does most of the cooking these days. But anyways, so we got that. Oh, and speaking of vacuums, Walter told me last night he ordered something. Walter's in love with Dyson vacuums. We have a couple of them. He decided we needed a third one. So he bought a third one, and I said, and how much was that? And he said, well, it was on sale. And I went, what, 600? Because Dyson vacuum cleaners are not cheap. He went, no, it was $1,000. I said, that thing better suck like there's no tomorrow, is all I can say about that. But anyways, and yes, I bought ginger pills. I don't know if I told you this or not, but when I go out for my walk, I often come across this older lady, senior. She's about 93, I think, and she goes out for a walk every day as well. She's quite spry at 93, and we get talking about health issues, as old people do. And she is definitely, she's into, staying away from pills and chemicals, and she's a vegan. Well, vegan or vegetarian. I think she's vegetarian. But she was telling me about, I was talking about joint pain and that, which I think is actually a side effect of my cholesterol medication. And I've talked to my doctor about that, and the doctor's given me another pill, which doesn't seem to make any difference. And I bought some cosamine, I think it's called, Q10. One of my subscribers talked about it and said they had the same problem, and since taking that, that has really helped. So I've been taking that, but it says on the vitamin bottle that, it's going to take about 3 months for it to kick in. I don't know if that's true or not. I don't know if they're just trying to sell more product, maybe, but I'm giving it a go. But then this lady told me about ginger, and she makes ginger tea. She boils or does something with she slices the ginger root, gets ginger root, slices it very thin, and puts boiling water on it and lets it seep and drinks that. Yeah, okay, I'm not going to buy a ginger root and do that. So I thought, well, can I get ginger supplements? And yes, of course you can. You can get anything, right? So this is supposedly ginger from ginger root and all of this kind of thing. I looked at the ingredients and yep, the principal ingredient is ginger. And they come in, God, horse pills. The capsules on these things are huge. You just about gag trying to get it down. But anyways, I'm taking one of these every morning. Now it does have warnings about it, and I looked up, reactions to other drugs you might be on and that kind of thing. It said if you're on blood pressure pills, which I am, be careful with ginger because it can really lower your blood pressure, like drop it down to the point where you're going to keel over, faint it from low blood pressure. So I've been watching it. So far, so good. Of course, mind you, they were talking about mass quantities of ginger. I'm not taking mass quantities of this. So anyways, we're trying this out to see what's happening. Just what I need is another pill to take. Isn't that the way it goes? As you get older, you get more pills. Pills, pills, pills. And my doctor's a pill pusher. Anyways, I bought some of that from Amazon. So I'll keep you informed as to how well this works. Okay, so now it comes to, can I print this 3D effing thing? And yeah, I thought I was done printing Christmas things, but no, I saw some more things. So just when I thought that this year I got rid of a whole bunch of Christmas decorations and things because, they were broken or I don't use them or whatever. Many of those were 3D printed things that I printed a few years ago when I got my first 3D printer and didn't know what the hell I was doing. That kind of thing. Yeah, so I create new ones. So let me just show you what I'm talking about here. There it is. Yep, those little gnomes and the Grinches. The Grinches are just fun. The gnomes light up. You put a tea candle in them, like a battery-operated tea light, of course, and they are stinking cute, too. So I made those, and I had some leftover bits and pieces. So I decided, for my table setting for Christmas Day, I needed, some centerpieces. So I made these two. And all this was just extra things I had made this year at Christmas time. And with my glue gun, I just stuck them all down on these little red colored, well, they're lids for a box. Now, I've showed it to you last week. I made a little gift box, 3D printed it for our great nieces that'll be here on Christmas Day, and filled each box with some little fun little things. But the lid, I thought, on the original box was a little too big. It moved around. So I screwed around with the settings, trying to make one that would fit properly, and I finally gave up. I just didn't get it right. So the bigger lid is what's on their boxes, and it's fine. It doesn't fall off. It's easy to get into the box. That's the one advantage of it. But I had these left over with the Santa hat on them. So I thought, what the heck? Let's not throw them out. Let's make them work for us. So centerpieces for the table. And then one of my people that I sew with on Wednesdays showed me this, and I went, oh no, it's just too stinking cute. It's supposed to be like a candy dish, snack dish, whatever. I don't know what I'm going to do with him. I'm not even sure where I put him. God, I have a memory like, it goes in one ear or comes out the other kind of a thing. But anyways, I made him. Now I'm really wondering where I put him. Oh well, I'll find him. And oh no. Okay, I'm an idiot. He's sitting right on my cutting mat. He has wonder clips in him. Yeah, fun. But you can put anything you want in him. He's just cute, and I did him in the rainbow colored filament, which I absolutely love, because you never know exactly how something's going to turn out. But I think he turned out pretty. So he's cute. Okay, so yeah, right now I'm printing some more stuff, but not Christmas. And on a future video, I will show you what those things are. Okay, let's move into what is already a long video, into a clip from some of our original Stephen and Walter lives. And this one is on, because, I mean, this is the time of the year when you probably are getting invitations to do things, or you're inviting people over. And so on this one, although it's not about Christmas, it talks about our expectations when you invite somebody to your home for dinner or whatever. Anyways, okay, so what's eating Walter?
Well, I don't know if it's really.
Well, it eats us both. But I'll tell you how this got started. First of all, we want to talk about people, and when you invite them to something or you're expecting them to show up to something, about etiquette in terms of being there on time. And we'll tell them what you were thinking.
Well, no, it's just that we've invited people over here for dinner and stuff like that. Most people arrive within the time frame that you say, but then we've had times where somebody doesn't show up for a long time, and you're trying to figure out if they've screwed up the date or whatever, or something, and then they show up like an hour and a half later, something like that.
Well, that was an extreme one, but that night pissed me off when certain friends of ours, that there was other people here, of course, didn't show up until an hour and a half late. And we're not apologetic about it. Didn't even make any excuses. There they were. And I said, we told you 6 o'clock. It is now 7:30. Is there a traffic problem? What's going? Nothing. So, okay. You know, when we invite people, I'm very anal about this. I have a schedule for the evening. Now, what I mean by that is, doesn't mean, okay, the bell just rang, you're now in second period, here we go. That would be the teacher in me. But I mean, I plan things around like the food, what we're doing, like an art attack night, you know. We have meet and greet at the beginning. You know, get everybody in.
Actually, I think that might have been an art attack.
It was an art attack. It was the one we did the alcohol inks, I think.
Yeah.
And, you know, I expect people to show up. If I say, okay, 6 o'clock, I know some people will be there 5 minutes earlier than that, maybe a little earlier. And anywhere between 6 to 6:15 is an acceptable time length. But an hour later, and you're not there yet, I mean, I'm timing the activities, dinner, you know, because you got to put things in the oven, you got to, you know, and trying to time it all so it's hot and ready and bang, bang, and all that stuff. So I just think it's rude to show up late. Now, we do have a tendency when someone invites us to something, usually showing up early, like 5 minutes early. In fact,
or right on time.
Right on time. In fact, people set their watches by it when we come in. It's a bit of a joke amongst our friends.
Who comes in first? Is Stephen and Walter come first, or what?
And then, of course, there's a few of our friends who are chronically late for things. Not by a lot, but we know. So we always have whoever gets here first, then we'll do a pool. Okay, what time do you think such and such is going to arrive? What time? Who do you think is going to beat who out for that? That's a bit of a running joke. I mean, that's not a big deal.
But you sort of know that they're going to be there within a reasonable amount of time.
So
but it's when somebody doesn't show up, and then you're sitting going, did they get the date right? Or
well, you start to second guess yourself. Ooh, did I not tell them that was it my fault? You almost want to call them up and go, hi, where are you? Kind of thing. In fact, I did do that once. It was them.
Actually, it was them. You called them and said, well, where are you?
Well, we're on the road. Okay. And they lived a ways away from us, like about an hour.
So, you know, you can understand you hit traffic or something. But then, you know, nowadays you have cell phones. You can call and say,
hi, we're running late. Sorry.
Yeah.
You know. And that's just a courtesy, but they didn't do that. I had to call them.
And then you get the people that decide to go, well, then the other thing was people that decide to go on diets or something like that.
Yeah, suddenly change their dietary requirements at the last minute.
At the last minute, and then phone you up or contact you 2 hours before the event and say, oh, by the way, I'm on a diet now, and
I can't eat any of your food.
I can't have dairy, I can't have booze, I can't have any starches. And you're going, okay, well, I can just bring my own food. Well, what's the point of that?
Yeah, really, like, I spent this time doing, and I
We spent all
usually,
this time making dessert and doing stuff and all this others, and you can't eat half the stuff, right?
and if it's okay, it's one thing if it's an allergy, but because I know these people,
Yeah.
I know what their food allergies are, and if I don't know them well enough, if they're coming, I will ask when I
Well,
make the invitation.
knowing that, you know the food allergies. You know it's not medical; it's self-inflicted.
Yes.
And what annoys me is that if they started this diet a week ago, why couldn't they have called me a week ago and told me that they're on this diet?
Yeah, and then I could have planned a little bit around it so there'd be stuff there for them. It's like vegetarians. If you don't know they're vegetarian and then they suddenly get to a restaurant or they come to your house and go, "Well, I'm a vegetarian." Well, I didn't know that. I would have brought in a whole harvest for you. Like, here, munch on my carpet. I don't know.
So anyway, so that one is people arriving late, and it's not just people arriving late for dinner. People arriving late for appointments. You're sending out an email to somebody, you're expecting a reasonable response, and then they don't send you another email for a week,
Yeah.
right? And it's like, are you dead or what? You know, especially in this day and age, people can fire off an email back fairly quick.
Well, what's really bad is in the gay world.
Or
Gay time doesn't work the same as straight time, apparently. People, you'll invite people for drinks, dinner, whatever, and you never get a definite answer from them because they always are waiting. There might be a better invitation at the last minute. If there's not, then maybe we'll show up at yours. But they don't say that, but that's what's going through their head. And
yeah,
that's what they
or
do.
what happens is that you've invited them, and 2 hours before they show up, you get a message from them. Oh, my dog's sick.
Or I'm double booked. We had one of those. Back at time. But yeah, I'm going to try and make it on time, but I'm also going that day to this other thing somewhere.
That's like 30 miles away from you.
Yeah, or further. And for this special event, which they already knew about at the same time, but so you double booked us. So what? And so I might be late, but I'm not sure how late. Pick one. If you're booked that day already and you can't make ours, okay, that's fine. Let us know. I mean, I'm a planner, and it irks me. Okay, so events in the past week. Well, we had a pop-up sew day this past Saturday, and actually I was really surprised. There was a fair number of people there because I really thought people would be, it's the last shopping weekend, last shopping Saturday before Christmas, and people would be busy, getting last minute gifts or food items, things like that. And we had quite a few people there, so that was nice. It was a very pleasant day, and that's what I worked on the second Holland duffel bag, which I'll show tomorrow on Etiquette Quilter. And so I got a lot done, so it was really a nice time. We had the neighbors in for a Christmas drink on Monday, this past Monday, and that was nice. I mean, although we see them out and about all the time, we don't really go running back and forth between our houses. And maybe we should do that a little bit more often because they're lovely people. And we had said no gifts because it was getting a little crazy over the last few years, It was almost like we were in competition. Who could give a better gift? And that was getting a bit crazy. So we just stopped that. But yeah, I broke my rule. I gave them a gift. But I said to them, no, Janine said, you said no gifts. And I said, yes, and I mean it. When we were in the Netherlands in the spring, I saw this tapestry, and I've shown it on here, of dachshund. And I bought 2 of them with my plan to make a bag for them because they have a cute little dachshund and Mocha. And they had one before that sadly passed away last year, Mia. And this tapestry had a dachshund on it that looks very much like Mocha. So as soon as I saw it, I knew I had to buy it to make a bag. And so I did. I made a bag. But, you can't give somebody an empty bag. So of course there was a bottle of wine in there and some 3D printed things. Well, I basically the 3D printed things were more or less they have grandchildren. And, I made a bunch of things. And I said to him, you want to give these to your grandchildren by all means. You do what you want with them. I have extras. So that's what we gave them. And it wasn't a gift. It was just me cleaning out my 3D prints. Yeah, kind of a thing. That's the way I voiced it, anyways. So, anyways, next day, Rick, the husband, showed up on our doorstep with a tin of mincemeat tarts that Janine had made herself. And we have had some of her tarts before, and they're absolutely delicious. And of course, she goes the extra mile and decorates them with, little cutouts of the pastry like stars and trees and things. They look really nice. And do I have a picture of them? I do have a picture of them. There they are. Those are Janine's tarts in this nice little tin they came in. And I think there were 10 tarts in there. I think she made about 7 dozen, her husband said, because, they're going to things over Christmas too. So take tarts with them. So it was very nice that she gave us 10 of them. And Walter doesn't like mincemeat, but I absolutely love mincemeat. And you know how many are left right now? About 4. I've been trying to pace myself, but when it comes to Christmas stuff, the hell with a diet, because I'm not going to have any self-control. So, anyways, they were delicious, and that was really nice of Janine and Rick to do that, because they didn't have to do that, and it was not expected. Okay, so what else happened in the last week? Oh yes, we delivered our gift bags. The ones I was working on since September, the dollar store felt bags that I embroidered and cursed because I was doing it forever because I made 12 of the suckers. Well, we delivered those bags with the little 3D printed goodies that I made for the ladies at Ultimate Sewing. And 3 out of the 6 of the ladies were in when we took them in. And they seemed to be delighted to get them and everything. And that made my day. And we also, the same day, I was getting my hair cut, and I had a gift for my hairdresser. Um, yeah, I don't want to sound grinchy, but she was sort of dropping hints about color schemes and things she might like. And if you remember, the color scheme that she was talking about was, aubergine and sage and that. And I did find, with the help of Shirley at Ultimate Sewing, the owner, I did find fabrics that look good with that. So I made a table runner, napkins, matching placemats to go with it. And I created napkin rings with my 3D printer and had those in a nice little box. And there were several other things that I 3D printed. And on top of that, she had mentioned the fact that her mother and her stepfather have their loungers they like to sit in to watch their programs and things on. And they had these ratty old blankets that they cuddle up in. And hint, hint, hint. I said to her, well, look, I have a ton of quilts that I've made. I would be more than happy to give your mother and your stepfather, neither one I've ever met, um, quilts, lap quilts, kind of a thing. And I told her at the time, and this is a couple of months ago, I said, I can bring in a couple that I think might be appropriate, and you can pick what you want. So that never happened because she never really brought it up again. So I decided I would bring in a couple of quilts that I thought would be appropriate lap quilts. And I also have a table runner, Christmas table runner that I made last year, but it's just been sitting in my pile of potential gifts. And I threw that in as well for her mother. And I gave that all to her. She gave me a hug and thanked me, but she never took anything out of the bags. She never looked at them. Now, maybe she didn't want to get, it's a hairdressing salon, maybe she didn't want to get hair on them. Okay. I found it a little strange. I thought, well, maybe, she's just, very busy because at this time of the year, hairdressers are very, very busy. Although there was nobody waiting to be served while I was there with her. So, yeah, I don't know uh, what that was all about. Um, I'm sure that maybe when she got a moment and she took things out and looked at them, then she'll probably text me or something and say, thank me or that kind of thing. But I just found it a little strange because I don't know about you, but when you spend time making something and giving it to it, for me, giving the gift, the excitement is watching the person open it up and seeing the expression on their face. Okay. And I didn't get that opportunity this time. So, I know she's appreciative and everything like that. She's a wonderful hairdresser. She's a really nice person. I've known her for over 30 years. You know, I don't know what I'll do if she ever retires. Cut my own hair. I don't know. But it was a little unusual because any gift, I always give her a gift at Christmas time, and she always opens it right there on the spot. And this time, no. So maybe there was stuff going on and, she was just busy, busy, busy. And that's what I think it would have been. I don't think she was trying to insult me or anything like that. No, far from it. Just found it a little weird. Okay, let's carry on here. What else? So I made Turkish Delight. Now, a lot of you know this because I've talked about it. And one of the people that comes on the So Days told me about Max Miller. And I know who Max Miller is. He's a YouTube channel creator, and he calls it A Taste of History, and he brings recipes that have been from the Middle Ages or other times, ancient Greeks, ancient Romans, things like that, and he makes them, and he also tells you the history of it. So if you've never checked him out, you should, because he's a really interesting. But anyways, this person mentioned that he had one on Turkish Delight, making it. And I have tried to make Turkish Delight from other recipes, and it's not the way Turkish Delight is supposed to be. Turkish Delight, I love. It's absolutely my favorite. You can buy it, but anything I have ever bought, and I've bought a lot of it from various places, it's not the same as what I remember when I was a kid. It's because they have to make it shelf stable. That's my theory, anyways. And they use gelatin in it. Real Turkish Delight does not have gelatin. It's just sugar, water, a little cream of tartar, and you boil the crap out of it because it's a candy. And then you add a cornstarch slurry to it, and you cook it for an hour and a half to 2 hours on top of the stove, constantly stirring it. It is an involved process. And then you have to let it sit for a minimum of 5 hours. Overnight is good for it to set up. And then you cut it into squares and you dust it with icing sugar. And this is what it looks like. That's Turkish Delight. Oh yes, there's rose water in it as well. That's the flavoring. You can use other flavorings as well. Rose water tends to be a little perfumey, but I like that in this. It works with this. And yeah. So when you pop a cube in your mouth, it instantly just melts, and it is so like velvet smooth, and it's delicious. I absolutely love it. It's not to everybody's taste. Walter's not a big fan of it, but anyways, I was very proud of this. So of course, you know what happens. Walter takes a look at it and he goes, your Turkish Delight, he says, I tried some, it tastes good, maybe needs a little more rose water. There's one thing. Second thing was, it's a little on the moist side. He says, I don't think you cooked it long enough. And yeah, I don't know if I have a picture of it. Do I? No, I don't. But I think I showed it yesterday on Stephen Walter Live, what it looks like right now. All the icing sugar has been absorbed into it because of the moisture, and some of it is underneath and it's kind of mucky, and it's still edible. It still tastes, in my opinion, great, but yeah. And of course the theory is there, because there is a lot of water in this, that if I had let it go a full 2 hours, it would have boiled out more of the water and wouldn't be a problem. So I think for a first try at this, I think it turned out pretty good, but I'm not going to give up. I'm going to make another batch. Maybe not today or tomorrow. Things are a little busy, but maybe between Christmas and New Year's, I will try another batch, and I will, when I've got half a day, yep, because this takes a long time to make, I will make another batch and boil the shit out of it. And we'll see how that works with this. Now, I didn't think Turkish Delight was a controversial issue. Um, but apparently there are people who, just absolutely love Turkish Delight and they get it at Winners or someplace and it was great. And that's not Turkish Delight. It says on the box, Turkish Delight. That is not Turkish Delight. That is commercially made Turkish Delight, and it has stabilizer in it, probably gelatin. It does not melt in your mouth. It's rubber. Okay? I know. Every place I go, whether it is a chocolate shop, a candy store, a Winners, a Walmart, a grocery store, it doesn't matter. If I see Turkish Delight, I will try it. And I have the same experience each time. It's little rubbery cubes. It is not Turkish Delight. And I'll tell you this, I even bought Turkish Delight in Istanbul when we were there at the market, at this huge market that's there. And I thought, okay, I am buying Turkish Delight in a market. It's going to be the real thing. Nope. Commercially made somewhere, same thing, rubber. And even if it says on the box, product of Turkey, well, think about it. It's in a box. It's been shipped over from Turkey. It's sitting on a store shelf. Turkish Delight does not, you're not supposed to really put it in the fridge or even freeze it because it'll create more moisture in it. It is shelf stable at room temperature in an airtight container, and what I read, they say for up to 1 month. The stuff that's in those boxes you find on a grocery store shelf, they have been sitting in that box for longer than 1 month and have gone through all kinds of trauma as they've been made their way to the store shelf. So yeah, I think the only way you're going to get real decent Turkish Delight is you got to make it. And that's what I'm doing. So we'll see how my second batch turns out. I'll keep you informed about that. Okay, so what else happened this week? Okay, so we ended the week last night with our anniversary. It's our 42nd year, 42 years we've been together. We've been married for 20 of those years, legally married, but we don't mark our anniversary on the day of our wedding. That's in July. We always have December 21st, winter solstice, and the whole bit, and we don't know the exact day that we actually met, but we know it was around Christmas time. And so we just picked. Years ago, we picked December 21st as our official anniversary. And so we went out last night. We don't usually go out for our anniversary because we found most times this time of the year, restaurants are extremely busy. Trying to get a reservation, is impossible. And it's just crowds in there. And yeah, not what we want to do. So we've usually been here at home for our anniversary. And we've usually done steak or lobster because we like lobster. This time, we decided to go out. There was a brand new restaurant, just heard about it in the town next door to us called Brunch and Beyond. It looked kind of cool with the pictures I saw of the inside, a little different. So we decided, I made a reservation and we went. There was hardly anybody in the restaurant, which seemed unusual. Now again, time of the year, but this is usually things are really busy. It was a Sunday evening. So maybe, I don't know. But anyways, it's on the pricey side, but that's okay. Special occasion. And I really wanted to like it. I really did. I mean, the food we had was good. And, for what we had, we had steak and that. So it was like an 8-ounce sirloin, I think, that we had. Was it sirloin? Whatever. $42.95. You know, well, meat is expensive these days, so that's not surprising. If we'd gone to what's our favorite restaurant, the Keg, for that, it would have cost us at least that, if not more. So that was okay. It's very modern looking inside, but there was something about it. It was cold, and I don't mean temperature wise. I mean it was just there was no atmosphere, no ambiance to it at all. But anyways, I made a video, sort of like a restaurant review, and this video runs about 14 minutes. So I told you today it was going to be long, but if you're interested, you can fast forward through parts of it if you want to, but I'm going to insert that video in here. So this is our anniversary dinner tonight, and we're coming to a brand new restaurant we didn't know existed until a couple of days ago, and I made a reservation. You can see that it's not really packed, so we probably could have got away without a reservation. They have these projectors on the walls showing this Christmas scene, and it's a very large place, and they do have a patio, an enclosed patio as well. We could have sat out there, but we decided to sit in the main part. This is what the table setting looks like. They have a decoration here in the middle, which is a paper napkin folded. I'm a little bit of a ways from the table, which that usually annoys me a little bit because I don't like
tables in glass, I think. Something.
Yeah, the tables, yeah, I think they're glass or acrylic. They have a very extensive menu. It's a book. It was pages and pages long. Wine choice is not very extensive. It's mostly Canadian wines. I think there was one foreign wine on there.
It's like basically 4 choices.
Yeah.
2 red and 2 white.
2 whites, yeah. I mean, it's Jackson Trigg. Jackson Trigg is from Niagara-on-the-Lake. We've had Jackson Trigg. It's an okay wine as well. It's $32.95 for a bottle of it, which I guess that's not out of the way with that. We're both having a steak, but we're going to split a Caesar salad because we don't know how big they are, and it's almost $20 for the salad. So, and they're going to plate it for us. So that was a nice thing. They have this little thing here on the edge of the table, which I think is kind of a neat idea. You have different buttons, so if you want to order, you push an order button. If you want to pay, you pay that, etc., or call them over, which actually I don't think is a really bad idea, because there's a lot of time you go to these restaurants and you're sitting around waiting, especially when you want your bill kind of a thing to leave. So that's kind of neat. They tend to have, it looks like, Indian food, so that's good. Okay, they brought our wine to our table. They put it in an ice bucket. It's red. You don't really usually have red in an ice bucket. She asked if she could pour for us. That was good, and I thought maybe I was going to get to taste it. Not that it makes much difference, because I know what it is anyways, but no, that didn't happen. She poured us a fairly generous amount in the glasses. I guess that's okay. And this is the Caesar salad. Good thing we are splitting one, because if this was these two together is one salad, this lot. Now it looks good. They do say it's beef bacon, although it looks like pork. But given what I said about them having a lot of Indian food on this restaurant, probably they don't eat pork, which is okay. That doesn't bother me in the least bit about it. Help seems to be a little unsure on how to serve properly. They could be because they're relatively new, so it's growing pains. So I'll reserve any more judgment about it until we get our real meal. Okay, so the Caesar salad comes with, I said, beef bacon, which actually tastes okay. It's fairly smoky. I mean, I don't think if I had read that on the menu that I would know it wasn't pork based. And it comes with these little Melba like toast kind of things, which are actually quite nice. They're very light and crispy. but not like, you know, break your tooth on them. The only thing is that's not in this salad, and I'm not really upset with it, is it said it had roasted cherry tomatoes in it, and there are no cherry tomatoes in this. I've never had a Caesar salad with cherry tomatoes in it, so I'm not really missing them, but interesting that they didn't do that. Okay, so they just tried to bring our steaks out before we had finished our appetizer, so I sent them back. Just a little bit too speedy. And yeah, there's nobody here, so they probably can be a little bit speedier, but that's not the whole point of what this meal's probably going to cost us. I like to have it a little bit more leisurely, especially it's a special occasion. We're not here to dine and dash. So I start. Well, let's just wait a minute and see. In the meantime, my rating on this, I started with the 10 out of 10, and I'm subtracting half points and points for each thing that I don't think are coming up to the to the specs of this type of restaurant. So first of all, when we came in, they had trouble finding our reservation on their board, so I'm taking a half a mark off for that. They should be a little more efficient. It's like they're just learning the pad. Now, maybe that's because they're brand new, but, you know, that means the staff need to be trained thoroughly. The seating, I'm sitting quite a ways away from the table, and I can't do anything about that. I'm not going to take any marks off that, because that happens in some restaurants. If I was 300 pounds, I would fit very nicely. Decor-wise, it's interesting, but they're playing this background music, as you can hear in it, and it is like in an endless loop, and it's just nondescript. It's enough to put you to sleep. Although, having said that, I've been to restaurants where it's been very loud and obnoxious, and this is not quite that. So I'm not going to take any points off for that either. I am going to take a point off for serving us red wine in an ice bucket with ice, because I've never been any place where they serve, you know, red wine in an ice bucket. Now, having said that, it doesn't bother me that much if my red wine is a little bit on the cooler side. I mean, I have been known to chill it at home, but in a restaurant, you don't expect that. The Caesar salad was okay. It did have, as I already mentioned, the cherry tomatoes, but I'm not really faulting them for that, because I don't care with that. And it was tasty enough, but splitting one was a good idea because it was huge. And again, I'm not taking points off for that. Then they tried to bring out the steak, as I already said, and we sent it back to the kitchen. And just a quick look at it, we both ordered our steaks medium. I'm suspecting that it's not going to be medium, that it's going to be more well done. And if it is, if I don't like it, I will send it back. So now we're just sitting here and debating whether we need to push the button, because we sent the steak back, and we're now finished our salads.
You want me to push the button? Do a call?
Give it a call. So we'll see what's next. Okay, so our steak has arrived, and it is cooked the way I wanted it, so that's good. And it has these mashed potatoes, and they're kind of tasty. And béarnaise sauce. They certainly didn't skimp on the béarnaise sauce, I'll say that. And Walter got, what'd you get, peppercorn?
Mm-hmm.
And there's our tomatoes right there on the vine. And some carrots. And looks like a piece of wilted broccoli. Whatever. But the steak tastes good. So that's fine. No points off for that. So you can see that neither one of us liked the meat. Not true. We ate it all, and actually it was tasty. It was good. It was done the way we wanted it done. And have no complaints about the food. The sauce. Both sauces were good. The béarnaise was good. And they gave you like a fair amount, because a lot of places you get it's sort of on the side and they put 3 drops on your plate. So I have no complaints about the food here so far. So I'm not going to take any points off for that. But one thing I'm taking a half point off is they do have a play area And it's not right here in the middle of the restaurant. It's off somewhere in the back. No, I can't see it from there. But anyways, we can hear the kids, though, in there. Which
in one way, I suppose it's not bad because they're not running around all over the place.
Yeah. Walter says if you didn't hear that, that's not so bad because they're not running around here amongst all the people or anything like that. Not that there's any people in here at the moment, but it is moving towards Christmas, like a couple of days before Christmas Day, so it could be why it's not, and it is a Sunday night. But yeah, I still not sure how I'm going to overall rate this, but I am taking a half point off of the play area because I don't come to restaurants where there's like kids in an evening. I don't want to hear them. Sorry about that, but actually, I'm paying big money for it. What's that?
It kind of lacks atmosphere.
Yeah, it lacks some atmosphere in here. It's kind of... They've tried to make it different and interesting in the decor with these screens and everything, but it's vast in here. The ceilings are high, as you can see.
It doesn't give you a feeling of comfort.
No.
Like if you go to One Eye Jacks and stuff like that, it's a pub or whatever, but at least it makes you feel like it's...
Yeah. We haven't had any of the staff come over and ask you how is it tasting and everything like that. Maybe that's why they have the buttons. I don't know. I'm just wondering if some of this is a cultural thing, because it is very obvious in here that this is owned and operated, and the staff that are here are Muslim. Not saying anything against Muslim people, not whatsoever.
They may do things in a different way.
Yeah, they may do things different than what we do it. So that's fine. In some ways, I'd rather not be bothered by the help, and they do have this little button thing that you push, and that seems to get their attention, and they come out with whatever. So yeah, it's a little different than what we've had before that we're used to. Not majorly
it's
different.
Like we're in a foreign country.
Yeah, it's almost like we're in a foreign country in some ways. But, times are changing, so maybe this is the new way to do it. So we were debating on dessert, and they brought us back the book. Yeah, the book. This thing is heavy, and it has...
21 pages. Oh.
No, more than 21 pages. It has...
33 pages.
33 pages. And they're really...
And
no pictures, but they are like about 10 of those pages are to do with cocktails. So they have every kind of cocktail going. They do have a kids menu, but I don't think they cook kids the way I like them. But yeah, mammoth menu. I don't like reading a book when I come to a restaurant like this. I mean,
no pictures.
And no pictures. But also, a lot of restaurants, though, this is not to fault them with it, because this seems to be the trend anymore. You go, you get a book of things, and I find it just overwhelming. And of course, the opposing idea to that is if you got one that didn't have, had a minimal things to pick from. So I suppose it's a choice between too much or too little. I don't know. But anyways, we looked at the dessert menu, and we've decided we're both kind of stuffed, and there wasn't anything on the dessert menu that really stands out. They have tiramisu, they have a couple of cheesecakes. They have a couple of weird cheesecakes, yeah, like a lemon lavender or something cheesecake and that, which might be kind of nice, but I'm just full. They had homemade ice cream, it said, on there. They didn't say what flavor that was, though. I would be very disappointed if it said it was a trio of homemade of ice creams. Vanilla, and vanilla. And I would be...
do that at home.
Yeah, kind of a thing. So, no, we're just finishing our wine, and we're going to blow this pop stand. So, overall rating. This is tough, because...
The food was okay.
The food was good. Would I say that the food was like, oh my God, blew my socks off? No, but it was okay. Price wise, well, we haven't got the bill yet. About standard for this type of thing that we had, I would say. I'm still not sure about the service thing. We seem to have to push the button anytime. I mean, they came right out when we pushed the button, but definitely nobody's hovering over you, which, that is okay too, as well. But it's like when we were finished and we're sitting here looking at our empty dishes and drinking our wine, no one approached us to take away our plates until we pushed the button. So that's kind of different. So overall, I think 7. Or you think?
Try it again sometime.
I would try it again.
And under a different circumstance.
I think I would try it for brunch, maybe someday, because they seem to have an extensive brunch menu with things. Well, it is called Brunch and, what is it? Brunch and
More.
Brunch and More, yeah. So I would try it for that too. I don't know if I would necessarily run back here for dinner, as opposed to maybe going to where we usually go, which is the Keg. I don't know. So 7, 6.5, what would you give it? Walter's thinking.
Yeah, 7. Maybe.
I think
6.5.
6.5 to 7-ish. Addendum to what we said about the breakfast and brunch. No, way too expensive. A frittata, $24.95. Eggs Benedict, $25.25. Eggs Florentine, $25.50. No, little over the hill. So we're home now from our anniversary dinner, and I just thought you'd like to see the lights out here at night that Walter strung up and everything for Christmas. On the way home, we were talking about that restaurant again, and I think we gave it too high a rating. We're going to drop our rating for a variety of reasons to 5 out of 10. The food was okay, but the atmosphere was very stark. The service was... we had to call them. They had the push buttons for that, but that was a little unusual. And we don't think, when we're looking at the prices for their brunch, which they seem to be pushing, they're a little high for what it is. So we don't know how well they're going to do. We don't think we're going to be running back, not because we had a terrible meal, but it was just, there was no atmosphere. It was kind of cold and stark. And so that's why we're ending up with the final score is 5 out of 10. Okay, well, that was a long one today. I don't usually do the vlogs that long, but yeah, bear with me. It's helping me sober up. Get over the hangover. So what's coming up? Well, you know about the Christmas Eve social. I already talked about that. Link is in the show notes. If you're available, you want to come, please do. Pop-up Sew Day on January the 1st. Next week, I will put out the link for that. And on Christmas Day, MSQC box on opening, the last one, will go live. So lots there for you. I hope you have a really great Christmas and all the best for the new year. And we'll see you, well, tomorrow on the Idiot Quilter. Yeah, bye.